Okay, so I would like to welcome all of you again to one of our webcasts through College Week Live. My name is Beau James. I'm the International Student Recruitment Specialist here at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. Today I am joined by Pam Gerstner. Pam, can you tell us about your position?
So my name is Pam Gerstner. I am an Associate Dean in the General Studies Department here at the college, and one of my areas of program directorship is our Intensive English program.
So we're very lucky to have Pam come in today. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the Intensive English program and the things that you as students can expect to gain from attending the Intensive English program, or some of the Intensive English support courses if you attend those while you are working on your academic program. So we have some PowerPoint slides that we're going to show you. We're going to do a little bit of a video, and then as we go, we'll just be asking Pam to help fill us in on some of the key points that we talk about. So, sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, so let's go ahead. First of all, we want to talk about the two different types of courses that happen within the Intensive English Language program. The first one being kind of the listening and speaking courses. In these courses, it's really designed for learners to help build their listening and speaking skills, but not just everyday English language skills, but skills that will specifically help students for the academic settings and to prepare them for a college environment. And that's really a little bit different than what you might have experienced if you had taken English language courses in high school or in your home country, because these are really designed for you as a student in the American academic setting. So we hope that they would be very helpful for you because you learn a lot about grammatical form, you learn about different meanings and usage. You get practice listening to short lectures, which involves taking good notes and developing your note-taking skills, and also being able to participate in group discussions in English. Now that last point, group discussions, is very important, Pam. Wouldn't you agree? Because in the American classroom, whether it's in an English language course or in any business course or other area, you can expect to get a lot of group discussions happening, correct?
He's absolutely correct. In fact, you can be guaranteed that in any 1 week where you may have 2 class sessions for any college level course, you're going to be spending upwards of 2 hours of that total instructional time working in small or large groups. So there will be a lot of listening and speaking that will be required. And one of the wonderful things about the courses that we offer in Intensive English is just as Beau said, it's going to prepare you for that college level classroom, so you can listen and speak very proficiently and take those very crucial, important notes.
And it's a good setting, I think, for students as well, because it gives them that initial chance to be in a classroom with other English as a second language learners, so that they kind of get over that nervousness when they have the speaking early on in their education, because once you get into a normal class with, you might have a majority of American classmates, so if everybody in your group is a native English speaker, you may feel hesitant to speak out if you haven't had that practice. So it's a good environment.
Very true. And we're getting to this shortly, but I will share with you that specifically for listening and speaking, in our Intensive English courses, you'll have no less than 5 hours specifically of listening and speaking instruction and opportunity to practice in addition to those 5 hours.
Great. So the other things that you may get in your listening and speaking class are really looking at main ideas and supporting details and building your conversational fluency. Now, a lot of times when I've been approached by international students and they think about listening and speaking, they're really worried about their pronunciation. They say, oh, my pronunciation's so bad. Well, this is a great opportunity to really build on those pronunciation skills. Also, you have the opportunity to stand up in front of your classes and do formal presentations. So if that's not something you've had the opportunity to do in the educational system where you come from, this is a really good time to develop those skills as well.
And Beau, that's a very important skill set, because in all of the general education courses, so any psychology or social science course that any student would take, any communication skills courses, there will be required speeches as part of those course outcomes. So to have the opportunity in an intensive English program to not just learn how to do this, but to practice it, again, is going to provide you that opportunity to be more comfortable when you get into the college classroom.
Great, great. So as you can see, there's a lot that you get out of simply the speaking and listening classes, but that's only one component of the intensive English language program. The other one being the reading and writing component. So of course, you're going to build a lot of your reading and writing skills, again, with the focus being on the academic setting. So you may have enjoyed practicing your English language by reading newspapers or websites, or even other sorts of online resources kind of for fun, but it really will push you to start reading more academic titles, so maybe something from an academic journal or a piece from a textbook, so that you really kind of take that next step into focusing on the academic environment. A lot of the times you will be asked to do essay writing for your courses, both in English and, again, outside of the English language courses in your general studies programs and in your majors. So a lot of those writing opportunities can be scary for international students. So this is a good time to do that, because they can learn the skills of coming up with the main ideas and putting up the supporting ideas, and then even the extra layer I think that we have in the United States that we really emphasize, and that's providing proper citation.
Absolutely.
So can you talk us through that kind of essay writing process that maybe the instructors will take the students through to help get them to the point where they feel comfortable with that?
Absolutely, and it's appropriate that we have reading and writing, these two skills, put together, because really when it comes to essay writing, you're going to have to do research. And more specifically, as you come up with your main idea, the instructor in the intensive English program is going to help you with just basic constructs of outlining, so you understand what your main topics are, your themes, and how you're going to conduct your research. And from there, very basic mechanics and proper sentence structure and grammar will certainly be highlighted in these courses. And also I wanted to share that basic textbook reading strategies will also be applied. And while maybe not a lot different from your home country, it really is going to be emphasized in how we tackle a textbook here in America, and maybe what might look different about them, and how really to utilize table of contents, terminology, and different strategies within the textbook to help you be successful in that college level classroom. But being able to read that text is also going to better ensure that you're going to be proficient in your research that you do, that then you will end up writing about. And the writing courses in the intensive English program is going to help you with annotation and citation. And citation is very, very important. I'm not sure if this is emphasized in your home country or not, but here in the American classroom, we are very, very sensitive and pay a great deal of attention to making sure that we're not plagiarizing. So when something is not our original thought, and when we're getting information from a textbook, a website, a journal, somewhere that is not from ourselves, we need to make sure to give reference to where that information and material has come from. And if we're not doing that, then it's thought to have been plagiarized. And plagiarism at our institution and at all American institutions is not acceptable. And what can end up happening is if a student plagiarizes, is there could be penalty within the coursework itself, or even as a student at the institution. So things you're going to be learning in this reading and writing course here in the intensive English program, again, is just going to set you up for success in the college level classroom.
That's great, and I think it's really a challenge for international students, because they may never even heard of citation or plagiarism. So it's a really safe environment sometimes in the intensive English writing environment to be able to learn about that process and to practice. And I understand that your instructors will even take students to the library where they can find other resources. And
even, don't forget about the writing lab.
Yeah, right? Tell us a little bit about the writing lab too, because I think it's particularly important for this particular area. Absolutely,
absolutely. And the writing lab isn't just specific to when students are in coursework in the intensive English program. Really, this carries over to when you're in college level courses as well. And any course that you're in that has any requirement whatsoever with writing, so when you have to put essays together or research papers, the writing lab is actually a place that you can come to down in our library, where we have both contracted faculty who specialize in writing, and we have academic coaches who will sit down and work with students one-on-one or a group of students, and really will take their work, make sure to do a nice review of it, and provide some tutorial and some guidance to students to make sure that they're doing things mechanically correct, and also including those citations.
How will that work for the students who maybe have English as a second language? Will there be some lab time for them specifically?
Excellent question. So for intensive English students in the intensive English program courses, similar to how our college level students access that academic writing lab, it will be the same process, but likely what's going to happen is you will be grouped with intensive English students so that there can be a primary focus on whatever writing you're bringing to the table with the comfort level of being with peers with whom you are comfortable, and also with an academic coach with whom you would meet and build an established relationship with.
Great. So I think it really emphasizes that students are going to really develop skills with both reading, finding key ideas in their textbooks, learning those things, maybe a little bit different than they had in their home country. If the emphasis was on test taking alone and they said, well, I got to memorize the facts and figures out of my textbook, this is a little bit different than that. It's taking key ideas out, maybe for a research paper, maybe on an exam, but the evaluation process is quite different here in the U.S. sometimes, and that can create added stress if your strategy at home might have been, I'm just really good at memorizing my textbooks. You might need a little bit more than that. So this is the kind of class that can probably help you with your reading strategies, and then also to help make you a better writer using some of what we call pre-writing and drafting skills, revising your work to make sure you catch those little English mistakes that you might have made along the way, editing, proofreading, so that you're really developing very high quality writing appropriate for an academic setting.
One thing I wanted to offer up regarding our reading and writing is we do our very, very best. The faculty in our intensive English program do try to key in individually with separate students as to where their program area of interest is. So for example, if you're going to stay here at our institution, and even if you're going to transfer on to a different institution for your four-year college experience, if it is known what program you want to study, whether it's something in health sciences, or maybe it's the social sciences, or maybe it's in our trades and industry or business, our faculty does a nice job of making sure that the majority of the reading that you do and the majority of the writing that you do is actually based upon your program of interest, so that you're getting exposure to things that you could be studying futuristically, and you're having that opportunity to both read and write, practice those things in your futuristic post-secondary studies.
That's great. Fantastic. So we're going to move ahead a little bit, and we're going to look at some of the specific goals in each of the areas. So we have in our academic reading, we want to, of course, talk about reading fluency and also reading for speed and accuracy. Can you help explain that speed versus accuracy idea?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a really interesting concept, because when you are reading for speed, usually as you learn to do this, you're learning how to, I don't know how to say this best, but your eyes will roll over likely all of the words within a sentence, but you're going to learn how to contextualize and pull out main ideas within sentences. So really it's not as though you're reading slowly over every single word. Words eventually will be omitted, and you kind of learn how to do this. Because with American textbooks, often is the case that you will be assigned to read not just one chapter, but perhaps a couple or a few chapters in an evening. And sometimes that can amount to over 100 pages of textbook with very small print. So to be able to learn with speed is going to help you be proficient in the college level classroom, and we're going to teach you how to do this.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I know from my own college experience, and you probably say the same, that a lot of times instructors or professors, they're going to assign a lot of reading for a class. And you may not know where all the most important points are, so you you have to be able to pull out main ideas from several chapters, or even from several different pieces of writing. So yeah, those speed reading is of course very, very important for that. Another thing, of course, is developing one's vocabulary, and that becomes really important, I think, as you point out, when you get into your industry-specific work. So if you're in healthcare and suddenly you're learning terminology related to dental work and being a dental hygienist or a dental assistant or ultimately a dentist, you might run into some issues there. Oh, I think we just lost
I'm going to step away. I'll go get the lights on. So keep going. There we go.
There we go. Oh, that's interesting. Never had that happen before.
Fun. A little break in the action.
Yep. And then, of course, the other thing we talk about is being able to summarize those ideas. And that's really important, going back to the idea that Pam brought up earlier with, trying to avoid plagiarizing. Mm-hmm. So when you do your reading and then you need to demonstrate to your professors or your instructors, I learned what I was supposed to learn from that reading, you can't just copy the information word from the textbook. You actually have to be able to put it in your own words mm-hmm. and summarize it the way that you understood it. So that becomes a very important skill to protect you from making those mistakes surrounding Absolutely. Plagiarism.
And also we just want to make sure that from the skill of being able to summarize, you are also showing that you have comprehended the information that you have read. So when you summarize for your instructor, that's going to be a key assessment for them to determine whether or not you need more time on certain concepts.
So I think that's the other piece of that reading fluency, that accuracy. So mm-hmm. you read and you accurately understood Correct. The concepts. So mm-hmm. great. So the next concept we talk about is, of course, with academic writing. And that can be very interesting, just learning to develop things like transitional phrases or having, that vocabulary where you're able to use that academic language. I know even for American students, when they're first learning to do the writing process, those transitions can be difficult.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
I know when grade schoolers are learning, every idea is transitioned through the word then.
Yeah.
I went to the classroom, then I did the homework, mm-hmm. then I, finished class and came home, and then I did my homework there. It's like that's a lot of then. So you kind of learn to be a little bit more sophisticated with those transitions. Mm-hmm. Another important piece, of course, is learning sentence-level grammar, and then sentence-level transitions and clauses and subordinations. Some really technical stuff there.
Absolutely.
Finally, you get to develop paragraph level, and finally, your entire paper level. So, again, it's trying to develop those skills that make your writing look professional. Mm-hmm. So, very important stuff.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, listening is another key component, and then that becomes useful in the classroom setting because that's when you're going to be taking your notes. It's particularly difficult for our international students in the classrooms even here at NWTC because their instructors are oftentimes used to speaking to native English speakers. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're speaking quickly or they're going through a lot of key terminology. Maybe they're writing key terms on the board or using PowerPoints, but in some cases they aren't. So that's where that listening and be able to take notes very quickly is really important.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, you have to be ready, like we talked about, for those academic discussions. So are you ready to get into a small group with your classmates? Are you ready to, when there's a large group discussion and the instructor or the professor calls you out in the middle of class, are you able to get your idea out there so that you feel confident? It can be really hard, especially when you're working in your second language and you're surrounded by people who are, native English speakers.
Absolutely. I like how you use the word confident because really any of these skills we're talking about, I did want to emphasize in that intensive English program classroom, as Beau had spoken about, one of the advantages of this program is it allows you that environment of comfort, being around peers who are experiencing similar things as though you are experiencing them. And at the same time that you're experiencing that creates a level of comfort to be able to practice. And the faculty member provides that opportunity of practice. And there's no, how do I say this? There's critiquing in a way to help you get better as you continue to practice, but you're not criticized. So you're not left to feel uncomfortable in the classroom. And really what ends up happening is you're building confidence over time. And that building of confidence in the intensive English program is probably the most important factor that will carry you over into success into the college level classroom.
Right. And in this particular slide, you can see one of our instructors.
Yes.
That's Eric Shockley.
It is
correct?
Eric, yeah.
Yeah. So I know we've had very good feedback. We'll have a video that will highlight a little bit of what Eric provided for some of his students and, the kind of values that we hope all of our international students gain from the intensive English language program. And obviously, the last piece out of these big four are those speaking skills. So again, fluency is very much speed and accuracy.
Absolutely.
Trying to develop both of those. Really working on those pronunciation. So we have various thought groups, presentation skills, being able to organize them, being able to express them in an organized way, and then of course delivery, which is really about speaking confidently. And so that the people who are listening can really understand the key points that you're wanted to touch on. And then there's those academic discussion skills, again, as we talked about, being able to listen actively, so hearing what the people are saying, but taking it in and knowing how you're going to respond to it in a way that makes sense. Then being able to participate in class, so when you have the large group discussions that the instructor or the professor asks, does anyone know the answer to this question, that you have that confidence to raise your hand and answer that, because participation actually can be something that students are graded on in our academic
Absolutely,
system.
and it's expected. Participation in all of the college classrooms here at this institution, absolutely. Participation is expected and most often is graded.
Right. And then sometimes it's a pretty sizable percentage too.
Absolutely.
10 or even 20% could be participation, depending on the class, and that can be almost as much as an examination in many cases.
Absolutely. One thing that I wanted to add about the speaking, and Beau pretty much said this in a few different ways, but you have practice working in small groups. So your academic conversations based upon a topic in a group work effort, so you have opportunity there. You have opportunity as a single student within the classroom, having the opportunity, and it's encouraged actually in the intensive English program, that you come up with questions based upon the information that was learned throughout a small lecture. It's expected that you ask questions because they want you to practice that, because it's expected in the college level classroom. In addition to that, there's going to be formal presentations. We call them speeches, but also there will be opportunity to do something that's called a debate. And you will learn how to choose a side, make a claim, choose a side, do some research to support whatever position that you have on a certain issue, and you get an opportunity to practice how you will debate through that issue and take your stand, so to say. So speaking is a huge, important skill, most definitely, and very well practiced in the intensive English classroom.
That's a great point. I know I remember all the way through college, and even I went to grad school, debate was a big part of that. And always being expected to, decide one way or another how you feel about a topic, and then be able to express it in your own words, but also sometimes being able to cite some of those expert materials that you got through your research process, or if you wrote about a topic in a paper, that you'd be able to explain that argument. So
you actually hit a really important point when you said citation, because when we were talking about writing before, we were talking about citation, to make sure that it's known that you're not plagiarizing. You are giving credit to the source where you received that information. It's equally as important when you're doing speaking presentations as well. Always citing that source.
Right, and that really gets to the heart. I mean, it's part of our academic culture that we have in the U.S., and that's what does make it sometimes unique and quite challenging if students hadn't engaged that particular skill before. So we want to now pivot to talk a little bit about, if I'm interested in the intensive English program, what does it look like? How do I apply for it? So the first thing we want to do is point out the two different sessions, because there's some pretty unique characteristics to them. Now, the first is the Summer Institutes. These are 6-week programs, so they're designed to occur relatively quickly to maybe get you ready for an upcoming semester. So maybe you are going to start in the fall semester, but you're a little bit nervous about your language proficiency. You want to have the chance to kind of get in there, get some serious practice, and make sure that you're ready. This particular 6-week program in Summer Institute is 12 credits, so that's a full-time course load for any international student. that would meet 20 hours per week. Can you talk a little bit about that,
Absolutely.
that meeting structure?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to give you real time. So we start as early as 8:30 in the morning, and we go until 12:30 in the afternoon. And we go 4 hours straight, Monday through Friday, for a total of 20 hours for 6 consecutive weeks. One of the reasons why we have it built in this way is we understand through research that actual language learning takes place best on a fresh brain. So that means after somebody has arisen from a really good night's sleep. So make sure you get your 8 hours a night, okay, before coming into the classroom. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of serious. Anyways, but as well during the Summer Institute, during those 6 weeks, and Eric can speak a little bit more to this, but we have very specific activities built in for all of our students. So regardless from where you are coming, you will become familiar not just with our college campus, but also Green Bay, the city where you're going to be residing, certainly at least for a minimum of 6 weeks, hopefully for much longer. But you'll become familiar with the city. You're going to learn a little bit more about American culture as it applies locally here to Green Bay, but also in the state of Wisconsin, as well as just being here in America. So several different activities are lined up in the afternoon, and we want you to have an opportunity to participate in those. And for some of you, it will just be a requirement as part of the programming that you're in. But I believe that Beau is going to be speaking a little bit more about that in just a short while. But each of these skills are going to be covered in that 4 hours every single day. So it's going to be a listening and speaking course, a reading course, a writing course, and a grammar course. So those are 4 separate courses delivered in 4 hours, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. There we go.
A lot of
6
numbers.
weeks.
A lot of numbers.
Absolutely. But that's our Summer Institute. And as he pointed out, the purpose really is to gear you up with hope that we can get you in that college level classroom already in fall. Now, for all students, that might be not possible, and that is more than okay because we have more opportunities in the intensive English program classroom as we move over into fall and spring terms. And I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment, but I wanted to give Beau a chance to kind of wrap up our Summer Institute.
Yeah, and I think that's really great to point out. It's a busy, busy schedule. We frequently talk to students, and they're like, wow, I can't believe I did so much in such a short period of time because it's classes every morning while you're still fresh. Then you have your lunch, maybe take a little break, but some cultural events. And then before you know it, it's evening and you got to get your homework done because you got class again tomorrow. So
you have to go to sleep. Don't forget about that.
Sleep. Yep, because if you don't get enough sleep, you won't make it at 8:30. So. So yeah, really, it's a pretty big deal. In terms of here at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, we do have short-term housing options available for international students. So if you're just here for a few weeks, we'll make sure we have a place for you. That will be part of the experience as well as being around other students, being around the campus. And then it's relatively inexpensive. We have an estimated total cost of about just over $4,000. That does include the housing cost and your food costs. So it's pretty affordable. The other option, though, as Pam pointed out, maybe you're not really trying to plow through your English as fast as possible. Maybe you really want to give it time to develop. That's where we recommend looking at the fall and spring semesters because those semesters run for 15 weeks, which is a really long time for an intensive English language program if you compare with just about any other intensive English language program out there. Those programs are usually built at about 6 to 8 weeks. So very similar to our Summer Institute. But if you do the fall or the spring semester, you're getting 15 weeks, so pretty much double the amount of instruction because you're still taking 12 credits and you're still going for 20 hours per week, but that's 20 hours for 15 weeks. That's a lot of time to develop true fluency, which I think is really important because sometimes if you get into an intensive English language program and you're really building proficiency, that can't happen in a very, very short period of time. You need several weeks, if not months. Some people even take a full year to do that.
That's true.
So signing up for 2 full academic semesters would take you pretty much through 9 months of instruction. Very true. That's plenty of time to develop fluency for just about any individual. So, that's really nice. And then you are still a student at the college, so you can live in the college dormitories, participate in all on-college activities organized by international programs and by our student involvement department. seems like every week people are getting free food.
Yep, true.
Seems like there's some sort of music happening or some sort of games going on.
And don't forget about the fitness center.
And
we do have a wonderful weight room and a fitness center.
Yeah.
Exercise classes, intramurals. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so students really get to have that college experience while they're still working on their intensive English. And then when they're finished, they can make that transition into the academic programs. Now, to highlight the benefit of this, we can just also point out the cost. You're really paying that same number of credits for twice as many hours of instruction. So, for about $6,400 per semester, you're really getting an awful lot of value.
So really what you're saying. Technical difficulties. Let's chalk it up to technical difficulties.
All right.
We're back.
Sorry about that little glitch there. As we were talking about, it's a really great program in terms of you have options. Do you want to get your language done quickly? Do you want to spread it out over a number of months? And then NWTC does offer a nice added benefit. If you are in the intensive English language program, you can get conditional admission to any of our other academic programs.
True.
And also, if you get through your full semester or summer session of intensive English language programming, but you still feel like you want to keep developing your English language proficiency, we have our transitional courses.
We do have our transitional courses.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, and I'm actually going to share a couple other things leading up to that, if I might. In our Summer Institute, one thing that I wanted to share with the international students who might be coming our way, we do actually offer a couple of different levels. We offer intermediate and advanced. So for our advanced level learners, it is very, very possible to complete that 6 weeks Summer Institute and be ready to transition fully into the college level classroom in fall. For those of you who are intermediate, you can absolutely choose to start in our 6-week intensive Summer Institute, and we'll just see where you're at the end of the 6 weeks. For some of you who are really motivated, you actually might be ready to go into the college level classroom, but maybe with some transitional level intensive English program courses. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But also, maybe you're going to want yet another full semester of just intensive English at that 20 hours a week. So, talking about our transitional level courses, we do a separate writing course and a separate listening and speaking course. So, dependent upon what level you're at, we will determine whether or not you need both of the courses, each course at 3 credits, or if you only need the writing course, which is at 3 credits. And really, when we talk credits, you can equate that to hours. So if you're in a 3-credit course, you're spending 3 hours a week in that class. If you're in 2 3-credit classes, that means you're spending 12 hours in that class. And when I say class, I'm actually talking about either the listening and speaking and or writing course for intensive English. So you would be in those transitional course or courses while at the same time concurrently accessing college level courses probably in your program area that you've already identified. So whether it's in business or trades or public safety or health sciences or something of that sort, you would be partly in the intensive English program for 3 to 6 hours a week. And then you'd spend most of your time actually in the college level courses at usually up to 12 hours a week, I would say.
Right. So we do have a lot of our international students who do take advantage of this. They will take their, IT networking classes or digital media classes, and they'll still be doing, 3 or 6 credits, which is, either a quarter or a half of the full-time minimum requirement for international students. Although many students will take extra classes, so maybe they'll do 15 credits, and 3 of those credits might be the intensive English. So they're making the progress that they need towards finishing their degree, but they're also still having that opportunity to continue to hone and develop their language proficiency.
Absolutely.
Great. So I think the other big question that comes up is tell us a little bit about some of the activities that happen, particularly with Summer Institute. And I think this has been a cool opportunity for our international students. Over the past couple years, we have taken them to places outside of our own city, which is Green Bay, Wisconsin, to our country, or not our state's capital.
Yep.
And then we've also taken them to some of the most popular tourist destinations in the state of Wisconsin, including Wisconsin Dells, which is known for its water parks and shows and lots of fun. Yeah, up to Door County, which is within the NWTC district. It's a little peninsula that sticks out into one of the Great Five Lakes, Lake Michigan, and it's got beautiful weather in the summertime and a lot of culture and arts and crafts and food. Lots of food.
Love the food.
So it's a very cool opportunity for students to kind of get to know something about our community. We take our students to the farmers market here, so it's music, it's food.
More food.
Yeah, you'll notice the theme developing here. But we also try to do stuff that's helpful for students. We do sometimes do programming to help introduce different areas of the college or different skills for challenges that you might face as an international student, may it be with your academic culture or other forms of culture shock. We've taken students to check out various institutions within the communities. So we visited local hospitals so people can check those out. We visited the local police department. We visited the mayor's office. So we've had our students have the opportunity to go speak to the mayor of our city, ask him questions about, what is it like running an American city? What are some of the issues that they face? Why aren't there more buses in the city of Green Bay? Like, they get to ask tough questions and get straight answers, which is a very cool opportunity. So I think Summer Institute is a wonderful opportunity because it's a time of year where the college is able to develop some of this specific programming just for the international students to get to engage the city and the local culture and the community. It's really something special.
Nice. Do they get to go shopping?
They do. No, we don't buy them stuff while they're shopping.
But they get to go.
But they get to go, and they certainly can check that out themselves. Good question.
Yeah.
So the other piece is, of course, how do I apply? So I think there are a lot of resources available to you as an international student to learn more about NWTC or to learn more specifically about the Intensive English Language Program. The first is our website, which we always encourage students to check out. That's nwtc.edu/international. If you go there, you'll find lots of different web pages. Some are focused on the Intensive English Language Program. Some are answering questions like, what's the housing going to be like? What's the community like? What's the visa process like? Because those are really tough questions, and we hope you find the answers that you're looking for there. The other thing that you can do is, of course, contact us directly. So our email is internationaladmissions@nwtc.edu. And then you can call a telephone number, which is country code is 1 for the United States, and then our area code is 920-498-5702. And then you can also let us know that you're interested. We can mail out to you a whole collection of information. Our international programs folder has application information, it has housing information, international student info. All of our different academic programs are in our view book. And then we have a specific intensive English language program brochure. So
most important piece, I would argue.
Piece, right. So if you want some more of the specifics about the IEP, you want to see pictures from students and classrooms, you can certainly use those. We can send out that packet of information both in the mail, or we can send it out electronically through email. So we have a lot of different ways for you to access info. Now, when you're ready to apply, we're just looking for a couple different things. There's the application itself, so that's just a couple pages of information that we need for your I-20, so you can get your student visa. There is an application fee, so it's about $130. That can seem a little high, but that will also include the shipping to make sure we send the I-20 and the acceptance letter to you by courier in the fastest way possible. So, you don't have to worry about paying the college for shipping fees after that. It's just a one-time fee with your international application. You do have to show evidence of financial support. That's not an NWTC rule. That's more for the visa process. So you can supply bank statements or a bank letter saying that you have the minimum amount that's estimated for your attendance. So that's that $4,200 we talked about for the Summer Institute, or the $6,300 for the one fall or spring session. Or if you're going to do an entire academic year and you think you're going to move on to do an academic program afterwards, at NWTC this year, that would be $15,360. Now, if you don't have all of those funds on your own bank account, maybe you need financial support from a parent or from another relative or some other financial sponsor, you can submit with your application the financial support form that will come from that individual, and then they will supply some of the bank statements or the bank letter that shows that they have the funds that they're willing to commit to your education. And then finally, for our intensive English program right now, we do not serve non-native or English speakers who have no proficiency. So you have to have some language proficiency in order to do that. Oftentimes that would be if you had taken a TOEFL and you maybe were 400 on the paper-based or better, 45 on the internet-based or better, or on an IELTS if you had a 4 or better, because that's just the where we have the most level of support.
Correct.
Am I right? We do know other intensive English language programs that we can refer you to if for some reason that you do not have any language proficiency and you really need to start from the beginning. We can certainly make some references in our own state and nearby, and you'd be welcome to transfer to us afterwards. But I'm guessing if you're listening to this presentation, you're able to comprehend at least some language, English language, so you're probably already past that point. Now, if you don't have a standardized test score, we can do some other things to look at proficiency, such as look at your, if you did English in your high school, or if you did like an international baccalaureate program or some sort of other program where you can demonstrate that you were in an English language classroom, we can maybe work with that. So we do have some flexibility in that regard.
Absolutely.
And then once you have all those materials collected, you can send them to myself or again to our international admissions at nwtc.edu email address. And then they will be processed. Usually within about 2 weeks, you will have your I-20 in hand and you'll be ready to go get your visa. So I know that process can be very unnerving. We do offer additional support. So I have materials and I've done web chats, web videos like this before, kind of helping students go through the different questions that they may face. So we have a lot of resources at the college to help walk you through the different steps.
So, Beau, I know that on the website, and certainly the information that you can send them, it will go into very explicit detail about housing options. But I think that maybe just share a little bit of the opportunity here at our campus, because I think for people coming from another country, this information is going to be helpful and maybe encouraging so that they know that there is a place for them.
It's a great question, yeah. So NWTC has constructed brand new dormitories basically on campus. They're called the Orchards apartments. So it's across the parking lot, so you can
literally.
You can get to class if you know you have class at 8:30, but you don't want to wake up until 8:15. You can probably
make it happen.
So it's a pretty great opportunity. Those on-campus apartments are suite style, so you can have either your own room or you can share a room with another student, and then you'll have some common areas. So there'll be a kitchen area for 4 different bedrooms. There will be a living room with television and internet and Wi-Fi, or that's the same, cable television and Wi-Fi. And then there's also bathrooms, so 2 bathrooms. So it's quite a bit of space, and it's nice because it gives you more opportunity to interact with other students. So, you're not going to feel like you're by yourself. You're really going to have the opportunity to interact with other folks.
And not only that, it's international students, but as well, American students. So what a great way to kind of integrate within the community here. And really build a level of comfort with your surroundings and the people with whom you live.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, for those students who do decide that, hey, I think I can go find housing on my own, they are permitted to do that if that's what they choose to do.
Sure.
So there are some other options there, but I think the on-campus with the orchards is a great choice for most students.
Absolutely.
Unless they have maybe friends in the community or want to go a different route, then that's okay too. We'll
Yep.
certainly allow it. So that takes us to the end. Of course, we want to encourage you to sign up to improve your English language skills. But before we let you go, we're going to actually give you a short video from some of our previous international students. Some of them participated in the intensive English language program before going into their academic program. So you'll hear a little bit about how that was beneficial. And just some other feedback about things that students at NWTC have really enjoyed, particularly for international students, like what do you like about being an international student? So we're going to flip over to the video and we'll watch that, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And we'll be back to you in just a second.
When I came here, the first class we attended was the English proficiency class with Eric Shockley, and we international students in that class, and college was empty. There was nobody, no American students at that time, and we were attending that English proficiency class, and I thought that it's something the same as in my country. But the instructor Eric Shockley, he always said that my duty is to prepare you for American classrooms. And that's what I got to know when I actually entered in American classrooms. Then my impression about the college changed a bit, about the American classrooms, the college, that is something really different from my country. It was looking the same when we were in the class of English language, and there were international students from different countries. I'm from Pakistan, some from India, and this was something very interesting for me. But when we actually entered in the American classrooms, then I got to know that yes, Eric Shockley was right, it's something different.
Yeah, so the best thing about living very next to the campus is like initially when we arrived, so it was difficult for us to manage the timings, and it was difficult. We didn't get enough sleep, and we had at class like 8:30 in the morning, so it was very stressful and difficult. But as days and time went passed by, it became very easy, and it was very nice that we used to get up on time. But the best thing with the campus was very near, so we could just wake up. Maybe if we have class at 8:30, even if we get up at 7:30, we could easily do our breakfast, complete our daily routine and come fast to the college.
To be honest, I really love it here, and I feel as if that you learn so much. Like, there's so many resources here, so many things that you can do, there's a lot of things you can branch off, and my impressions here, I would say, it's perfect. I love it here. It's amazing.
Now, it's amazing experience staying with roommates and sharing your thing. It taught me that you need to share, you need to give so that they give you back. You need to give love, then they give you back. So it's just a give and take business. So I was not that person who would share things easily, but this trip and living with the roommates have taught me a lot, taught me to share things, live in a different world. Like, we have many good experiences. I hardly think there is a bad experience, no bad experiences, but it is amazing to stay with the roommates. It's really nice, the best thing, yes. And we also are educated about their culture, how their culture goes. So I have an Indonesian roommate and a Tunisian roommate who have a different accent altogether. Their accent, like everybody's accent are very funny, so we try to intimidate what they say, and that becomes more funny as such. It's nice. Yeah.
To be honest with you, being an international student makes me feel really good, especially here at NWTC. But you walk in the corridors, it's like everybody knows you. You know, it's like what I like about it is that I've tried to incorporate myself, you know, brand myself. Like when I walk in corridors, everyone's like, hey Willie, you know, you might not think that people don't know you, but everybody knows you. And I think that being an international student is a plus with a lot of students, but especially American students. They want to know about your culture. You know, they're very friendly. Everyone here is very welcoming. So I must say I love it. I enjoy it. You know, you bring a lot to the table, and people are willing to listen and learn what you have to bring.
Being an international student, I think it's kind of like a privilege for this college, because everyone treats us very attentive, very special, very respectful. Yeah. So about my future plans, what I'll do next, I would not. I cannot imagine losing this title of international student, because I was so proud, and wherever I would go, I'll tell I'm an international student. So it makes a difference between just being a citizen or just being a resident of this country and an international student. You're kind of like a special guest of this country, and you feel different. Yeah. So I would like to keep this status longer time, but yeah, if I decide to stay in the United States, then I'll have to lose the status.
So that's hopefully a helpful video from our students. I think you'll agree that they had some really cool experiences. We really just want to wrap up the presentation today. Pam, I'll give you the chance to give any final thoughts or well wishes.
I actually appreciate that, because we had technical difficulties right as I ended a very important statement. Not sure if you all heard, but we're really proud to offer our intensive English program for twice as much instruction, half the cost. So when you compare what we're offering to other institutions, you will find that we're very cost effective. And when you're actually here experiencing it, all I can promise you is we have fantastic instructors and the support that's here at the college to make sure that we're offering the best chance at every one student being successful. It's all over this campus, and we're all very dedicated to our learners. So my hope is that everybody's actually seriously considering taking a look at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College for intensive English programming, but also just as a holistic international student experience here in our college level courses and in our classrooms.
Great. Well, I hope that you have found the presentation to be helpful, to answer a little bit more about what you can expect to learn in the various classes. You have our reading and writing emphasis, you have our speaking and listening emphasis, all the great skills to help prepare you to get ready for the academic culture of your coursework here at NWTC or at any other institution of higher education here in the United States. I think you can look forward to having the opportunity to take classes in your major, but also taking those intensive English support courses as well, if that's something that interests you. And then finally, you have some different options in terms of if you really just want to bear down for 6 weeks and get ready for that fall semester, you can come to our Summer Institute. You benefit from a lot of great activities on campus, or you can take a little bit more time, make sure you're going to develop that fluency by participating in a semester-long intensive English language program, which can really be beneficial, and as Pam mentioned, is a great value for any student.
Absolutely.
So Pam, I very much appreciate you joining us today.
And thank all of you. It's been fun.
So thank you very much, and we hope to see you here at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College very soon. Have a great day.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.